This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. You chose to hit play on this podcast today. Smart choice. Progressive loves to help people make smart choices. That's why they offer a tool called Auto Quote Explorer that allows you to compare your Progressive car insurance quote with rates from other companies. So you save time on the research and can enjoy savings when you choose the best rate for you. Give it a try after this episode at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
Tired of trying diet after diet without results? Mochi Health offers a long-term weight loss solution personalized to your needs. Our board-certified obesity doctors and registered dietitians provide expert guidance to help you succeed. Eligible patients can access custom-formulated GLP-1 medication at an affordable set price delivered monthly. Take our free quiz at joinmochi.com and use code AUDIO40 for $40 off your first month. That's joinmochi.com.
From automated assembly lines to smart factories, manufacturing is going digital and fast. If you want to stay relevant, you need the right tech skills. CBT Nuggets helps you get there with practical, easy-to-follow IT training. Build in-demand skills in networking, cybersecurity, and system automation without investing in costly hardware or struggling with complicated setups. Our short, engaging videos and hands-on virtual labs make learning simple and effective. Whether you're a technician on the floor, a manager leading teams, or an engineer optimizing systems, CBT Nuggets fits your schedule and meets you where you are. Train at your own pace, from any device, wherever it works for you. And with new content added regularly, there's always something relevant to learn. Join thousands of professionals who are leveling up their careers with CBT Nuggets. Right now, you can start a 7-day free trial and explore everything we offer, no commitment required. Go to cbtnuggets.com today. Because in modern manufacturing, better tech skills mean better opportunities.
Welcome to the Law Enforcement Today radio show. I'm your host. My name's John J. Wiley. In addition to being a radio broadcaster, I'm a retired police sergeant. For the latest news articles and much more, check out our website, letradioshow.com. In the Law Enforcement Today show, we'll be joined by special guests. We'll be talking about their experiences and issues affecting law enforcement officers, first responders, their families, their community, and victims of horrendous crimes. Be sure to like us on Facebook. Our page is Law Enforcement Today Radio Show. Check out the daily articles on our website, letradioshow.com. And while you're there, download our free app. There was social media, and then there was social audio. Now the Breakout app combines the best of both. Best of all, the Breakout app is free with versions for iPhone and Android devices. You can download the app for free at the App Store and Google Play, or you can download for free at www.letbreak.com. This is a special episode of the Law Enforcement Today show coming from the Federation for American Immigration Reform's Feet to the Fire annual Radio Row event. We are broadcasting from 400 North Capitol Street. On top of the roof, we have cover. It's nasty weather, so you'll hear some ambient noise, you'll hear wind, you'll hear maybe sirens, all that stuff, which is kind of cool because I think it's a nice contrast from the pristine environment of the radio studio. Joining us, we have Tony Pham. He's former acting director of Immigration and Customs Enforcement, also known as ICE. Tony, first of all, thanks for being a guest on the show, and thank you for your service. Very much appreciated.
Jay, hey, thank you so much for that, and I appreciate being on your show.
So you're in private industry now. You did ICE for quite a while. How long have you been out of it?
2 years. Okay. I left at the end of 2020.
So are you like me? I loved being a police officer in Baltimore. It didn't love me back.
Well, let me say this. I was introduced to ICE in various different capacities. I've received my initial appointment as the principal legal advisor, so I was there as the chief immigration officer, and then I had the privilege of being elevated to replace the then acting director and to become the current acting director. And so I had the ability to see how ICE operated in both different capacities, from the legal side and the operational side. And I got to tell you, it was one of the highest honors I had in being a part of such a unique group of individuals. And I still to this day believe it was the pinnacle of my career in being in that level of service. And so from my background, I started off as a prosecutor, front lines, here in the city of Richmond. I progressed to end up being the chief gang prosecutor, dealing with a lot of violent crime prosecutions in the city of Richmond. But I found my niche when I went to go work in-house with the sheriff's office in a local correctional facility there in Richmond, Virginia. And for 8 years, I had an awesome time working next to the sheriffs and the deputies, learning a lot about the issues that impacted their well-being, certainly from the HR side, but also from the policy side, and helping to defend them against a lot of the frivolous lawsuits that would be filed. Right. And as you as an officer would understand that. I decided to do something crazy and get into more operations, because as an attorney, you really can think and see things in a particular way, but unless you're actually charged with the duties of actually performing the job, you don't really get a fulsome understanding of what the men and women go through on a day-to-day basis. So believe it or not, I actually signed up to be a regional jail superintendent and I did that for 2 years. I led 136 men and women in uniform who were sworn personnel, whose duties were responsibility of over 400 inmates. But I was running and managing the entire component and understanding, obviously, being back there in the back of the facility with them, doing unit searches with them, responding to emergencies with them, and backing them up inside of a correctional facility. Really opened my eyes as to what our men and women endure on a 12-hour basis, right? And it gave me a newfound respect. If I didn't already have it, it really cemented my newfound respect for the difficulties of sometimes in the job that they do. So I realized they don't need leadership to constantly pounce on them. They need leadership to figure out ways to enhance their work experience.
Right. And make them better what they do.
Yes, and that's what led me to deal with enhanced training, even equipment, because I would go out there, I would take my taser ride for certification purposes, because I wanted to see what equipment could enhance my employees' work environment. And so those were, running a correctional facility in ICE, those were unique moments in my career that I was able to say that I walked hand in hand with our men and women in uniform, and I relish those moments. Even 2 years to this day, it's nice and quiet in private industry, but I do miss the really active run and gun hate day, right?
Sometimes the adrenaline rush. I must have been addicted to it, Tony, because I certainly miss it from time to time.
Well, I understand that feeling now. I really do. Some people think I was crazy, but the camaraderie you build. Let me just say this: some of the things that we saw, the camaraderie you build with your workforce when you're right there with them, when OC is being deployed inside of a unit and you're getting hit just the same, your workforce sees that, right? Yeah. And you're on the front lines with them, and then so you take that experience and you go back to your decision-making cubicle, as I call it, and you are now equipped as a leader of that organization to figure out what can you do to enhance their work environment and their work experience. And that's all you can do at that point, right? Yep. And that's all they can ask for from the head honcho in charge, is what can you do to enhance their experience. So when I went to ICE, even as the chief immigration lawyer in charge of 25 different field offices and over 1,300 lawyers, I wanted to connect with my workforce. So, absent COVID, which put a pause on our ability to do this, we were doing town halls remotely. I was trying to answer as many questions. So it boiled down to how much access can leadership give the individual employees on the front lines. I wasn't afraid to answer the hard question. And if I didn't have an answer, the reality is I don't have an answer, but let me get it for you, right? And so I think there was a huge, tremendous value that we gave the employees by simply listening to a lot of their concerns. Some of them you can fix. I get it. Some of them you cannot. No. And so I took that to ICE and had a blast as the acting director, because I was known for traveling to the different AORs, the areas of responsibilities in the field. We went to Minneapolis, we went to Philadelphia, went to Fairfax, Virginia, right down the street. We went all the way we went to Atlanta, we went to Miami. I wanted to be known as the acting director who traveled to the field, who saw the employees during COVID who had to come into the office. Remember, a lot of employees were able to telework or whatnot. Right. But our men and women in law enforcement, Absolutely not. They were on the front lines all the way through the COVID pandemic and still are. And so I wanted to make sure that they saw leadership in their offices, talking to them and hearing their concerns as well.
I got to ask you this question.
Sure.
By the way, I love Richmond, Virginia. I went to high school there. We talked about it for the interview. I took my wife to visit the Fan, other areas. I love that city. I'm horrified to see the crime problem they have. And I am equally horrified by seeing how police are being vilified across the United States. But ICE has become such a politically charged organization. I don't understand. How upset are you at the politics that's always attacking ICE in particular?
It's disheartening because I think a lot of folks, and I take the responsibility that as loud as they want to be, we need to be equally as loud. And when I say I mean the individuals that understand ICE's mission, right? So when we have to recognize that ICE was formed in the aftermath of 9/11, and we were folded in the larger creation of the U.S. Department of Homeland Security. And the mission set for CBP, ICE, and DHS was certainly to protect the interior and protect the homeland. Protect us as Americans, right, by securing our borders, and number two, what ICE does by enforcing the immigration laws that we know that the terrorists exploited, our immigration pathways. And so my job, and I come from it from a unique perspective because I'm an immigrant to this country as well. We immigrated.
Which we're going to talk about in just a moment. We're going to take a short break. Are you able to hang around a little bit?
Sure.
This is the Law Enforcement Today Show. Turn our conversation with Tony Pham in just a few moments. So much great stuff heading your way. You don't want to miss it. We'll be right back.
Are you wondering where you can find more great podcasts? Head to letradioshow.com, click Be Heard, and discover other fantastic podcasts like this one. Also available on our free app, all at letradioshow.com.
There was social media, and then there was social audio. Now the Breakout app combines the best of both. Best of all, the Breakout app is free, with versions for iPhone and Android devices. You can download the app for free at the App Store and Google Play, or you can download for free at www.letbreak.com.
John discovered a cool new app and he just can't put it down because it has millions of great podcasts, including Law Enforcement Today. So now you can listen anytime, anywhere, and also chat with John. It's called Podopolo. It's free on either app store, so join John there. Follow Law Enforcement Today and DM John when you do. That's Podopolo. Download it now.
This is a Law Enforcement Today Show, returning to our conversation with Tony Pham. Before I tell you that, you're going to hear some ambient noise. We are at the annual Federation of American Immigration Reform's Feet That Fire Radio Row event. We are on top of 400 North Capitol Street, overlooking the Capitol building in D.C. Tony is a former acting director for ICE, and you've got a unique story, Tony, that I know people want to hear about. You're the son of immigrants, correct?
Yes, I'm an immigrant myself. I came.
So you came. How old were you when you came here?
I was 2 years old. Yeah.
So you're American, but you came from Vietnam.
Born in Vietnam. Yep.
Here's what, and I'm considerably older than Tony, by the way. I have a lot more gray hair than he does. I went to grade school in Norfolk, Virginia. My dad's career Navy, and a lot of people that I went to school with, their fathers were POWs or MIA, and I have a tremendous amount of respect for our veterans and the family members of what they went through, because some of them, when they came home, they've never been the same. But I've never really had a chance to talk to someone that went through that from your family perspective that came here and said, okay, here's an opportunity to do something great. My family came, my grandparents on both sides came in the 1930s from Ireland. They were 16. They turned 16 like 2 weeks before, had the money in their pocket, that's it. No assurances, no safety blanket, no nothing. They're indentured servants, all that stuff. How difficult was it for your family to come here from I imagine it's a war-torn country at the time.
Yeah, 11 days before the communist tanks rolled into Saigon, which ultimately marked the official end of the Vietnam War, which was a terrible, terrible moment in American history for us. my mother grabbed my two sisters and myself and worked her way to Tan Son Nhut Airport and was able to secure one of the rare a seat on one of the rare flights out of Saigon. She left my father, her husband, on post, and we processed through Guam without him, and then we were relocated to Fort Chaffee, Arkansas, a refugee camp there. It was really only by the grace of God that we were reunited. He was able to escape within those 11 days.
Wow.
And again, lucky to be reunited with my father. I grew up in an environment watching my parents struggle, and that struggle permeated our home life. Trying to reestablish roots in a foreign country with a new culture and learn a new language in the mid 30s was a tremendously difficult time period. And the only jobs that were available, as you said, was obviously the minimum wage jobs. My father was a mechanic and a janitor, and so poverty was real. Trying to feed a family of three, living in a one-bedroom apartment with 5 people, and my parents would sleep on a pull-out sofa. Those were moments that were seared into my consciousness, because my mom and dad always preached to us the only pathway out of poverty that we have a lot of opportunities, don't get me wrong, but the only way we can avail ourselves of those opportunities is through education.
Right.
Is to become educated, because that's the one thing that no one can ever take away from you. They could take away your car, they can take away everything else, they can take away your home, but they can never take away your education. So that's what I did. My sister and I embarked on nothing but studying, right? And so I hopefully paid off. She became a medical doctor, and I play a lawyer on TV. And so at the end of the day,
I think you've done rather well for yourself.
I thank you, and I try to be humble, because I recognize, and I will tell you this, I recognize that my pathway to success in this country was paved not only just by my parents' sacrifices and what they did when we first got here, but also from the veterans that served in that war. I will always remember and pay homage and respect to the 56,000 that did not come home from the Vietnam War that day. And you can see on my lapel pin, I wear this everywhere I go. 1,200 more were considered POWs and MIA. So countless others, and they did not receive the best reception home.
No, they did
None
not.
whatsoever. So I live my life of service. I told you a little bit about being a prosecutor, running a jail, trying to serve my community as best I can. But I always get to that point where I will always provide a thank you to the individuals who served in our military, because I want them to see that their sacrifices were not in vain. There's so many other success stories, Jay. Don't get me wrong. There's so many other success stories from people from the Vietnamese community. But this kid that came from Vietnam somehow ended up being the head of I.C.E. through a presidential appointment. Will always remember that my successes and my good fortune in this country were due in large part to their sacrifices when they left their families to go fight in a war.
One thing that really resonates with me, Tony, is it was, I'll say, by an act of God, a stroke of luck, that you and your family got out. And then on top of it, your dad was reunited.
Yep. So
many people have tried and failed and could not make that. It was literally like hitting the lottery.
Sure, absolutely. And so, I either have a horseshoe or a 4-leaf clover rammed somewhere, as you know, as a joke.
Yeah.
But because of our good fortune, and because I recognize that, right, Jay? Because I try to teach my children that. They're born here in the U.S. I try to teach them to be gracious with their good fortune, right? We don't want to keep up with the Joneses. We should be happy with what we have because we worked hard for it.
Right.
And we had the opportunity to earn it, right? And so I take my message on the road a lot, and I talk to folks, both old and young, about the struggles of what it's like to grow up in a multicultural family, as I call it, because we spoke English at school, and then we spoke Vietnamese at home, and my sisters and I had to take ESL classes to help my parents learn English so they could study. Yeah, and so 10 years later.
So you were the teachers, and you were the little ones.
Yeah, we were the kids, but it was easier for us to learn because
it's easier.
Oh, absolutely.
I got to tell you, Tony, when I was a year old, my dad was stationed in Rota, Spain, and to go to preschool, you had to be potty trained. So I spoke fluent Spanish for the first 4 years of my life, 4 or 5 years of my life. Then I moved back to the United States and never used it again.
Oh, wow.
I wished I had that.
Yeah.
I've always been baffled and really impressed with people who are bilingual or trilingual.
Sure.
To think in one language and then process it and say something in a different language, I can't comprehend.
That might be an attribute of why was successful and the way my critical thought processes would go through. I say this, when you're sitting in that seat on the 11th floor, and I hope you get an opportunity to speak to Tom Homan, we'll give you the same message. There was a lot of information flow. It was a lot of stuff coming through briefings and everything like that from the immigration side, but also from the Homeland Security side, right? And not only that, we had to deal with, we're an $8 billion organization, the Office of Acquisitions, Procurements. I mean, it was really a large-scale business footprint. And to help me consolidate and encapsulate that into a sane moment in my life, that's how I ran it. That's how I approached it. What is our business model? It's immigration enforcement. All right, so let's go be the best we can be at immigration enforcement because that was our business model.
I got to tell you, I've been trying to get dual citizenship in Ireland for 4 years.
Okay.
And I'm qualified for it, but they didn't like the paperwork, the order they got in, so they denied me. And it was shut down for about 2 years due to COVID. But here's the difference between that country and our country. If you migrate there and dual citizenship, so you have grandparents who are born there, which I do, they'll tell you, you have to be able to take care of your own health insurance. We're not going to take care of you. We're not going to support you. Why is it our country is afraid of saying things that other countries don't have a problem telling people? Here's an opportunity for you. We'll bring you in. We'll welcome you. But you're on your own. That opportunity is going to involve a lot of work on your part.
Yeah. So, let me say this. I'm full disclosure. When my family first came here, we were on public assistance. Right?
There's nothing wrong with that. That's what it's designed for.
Yep. I had free lunches in school, but we worked our way off. My first job was at McDonald's, right? Flipping burgers, running that grill.
Dude, I lasted 1 day at McDonald's.
Well, I lasted my entire.
I have nightmares of it. If you have the time to lean, you're the time to clean. So I didn't last long.
I was running 12 and 6 on a continuous basis on a Friday night for football. But to talk about the culture that we have here, a lot of us. I don't want to sound like I'm pointing fingers at anyone, but there's a lot of virtue signaling, right?
Yeah.
We all want to feel good. I try to teach my kids that. I get what you're doing. You're spending other people's money so you could feel good, right? That's socialism. And that's a no-no, right? Now, when I ask you to drop $500 on this charity, how would that make you feel, right? So I approach it in saying there's a lot of folks who just want to feel good, right? And they shy away from making the hard call, the hard decision.
Here's the thing. Yep. I know we're going to short on time.
Sure.
If you want to feel good, do good.
Absolutely.
If you want to develop self-esteem, do things that create self-esteem. Yep. It can't be given to you. And you and your family are an example. We got to have you back on. Sure. Thanks so much for being a guest on the show. Very much appreciated.
Jay, thank you for having me.
I'd like to thank our guests so much for coming on the Law Enforcement Today radio show. The Law Enforcement Today radio show is a nationally syndicated radio show broadcast on numerous stations once a week and growing. If you enjoyed the podcast version of the show, please do me a big favor. Tell a friend. I'll be back in just a couple days with a brand new episode of the Law Enforcement Today radio show and podcast. Until then, this is John J. Wiley. See ya.